Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and what you see behind me is the furnace farm setup for an XP farm that will generate 18,000 XP per hour. This is one of the modules from my 198,000 XP per hour farm, and as I said, this is the furnace farm setup. I will show you the materials you need to make it. I will show you how to build it. And in the back, I will show you what you should probably build for your survival world or small server and explain exactly why. So, as I said, we're going through one of the slices for this 198,000 per hour XP farm, which will be in the description. And this is what the finished module looks like. So, let's show you what you need to build it. And you can just take a look right here and pause the video. I will explain each of these components in more detail at the end to show you what you can swap out. So what you want to do is start with your center point and put a dropper there. This can be a dispenser if you want. And from that you put a hopper facing in on either side. Above that hopper you place a hopper facing down, and this is one of 25 that all go out in this direction, and you can see the hoppers underneath are all pointing back towards the center. These are 25 furnaces above this hopper line, as well as hoppers pointing directly into the top of the furnace. Then you have hoppers pointing into the back of the furnace as well. So each furnace has 3 hoppers. And the other side is a mirror image. There's 25 furnaces here, same hopper line, except obviously it's facing in this direction to point back towards this dropper. Now, once you have that set up, we can put in some more of the structure, and you can add these solid blocks in front of and below the furnace so that they are touching this hopper line. And these do have to be solid blocks. They cannot be opaque blocks like glass. They need to be a block like stone. You can also put in your packed ice, which is next to the hoppers. And this goes from one end all the way to the other. And sorry, in case it was not clear, you do have this one block jutting out. This is the exact center of this 25. That's block 13. Same on the other side. And above the hoppers, you put glass panes. Now you can also use iron bars if you want instead. The idea is a block that will contain the water onto these ice streams, but not block the hitbox for the items when we do our alignment, which I will show you in a minute. And then we have a row of glass, which is also containing the water. And obviously this can be any block you want. It doesn't have to be glass. We also want to put in our automatic dispensing system. And the way that we do that is we take a comparator, which is taking a read from the dropper, and that points into an observer, which has a sticky piston underneath, and this does have to be a sticky piston, and then another observer facing this. So when there's an item in your dropper, the comparator will read it. It will power the sticky piston, which will lift the observer, and it'll make an observer clock to spit out any item in there, which is your automated dispensing system. Now over here, you do want to just put a solid block to help with the items, and also so you don't fall in there. These also don't have to be glass. They can be whatever you want. As for some of the details, we can now put something to destroy the cactus green that is going to be spit out of the dropper. It doesn't have to be lava. You can use a cactus, for example, or if you want the dye, you can collect it. You put a redstone dust on top of the solid block, and you put a lever on this block that juts out. And the reason you do this is because when you turn the lever on, it powers the redstone dust, which transmits that power through the solid block and locks these hoppers to allow you to more easily take out the cactus green, which is how you get your XP. and that's why these do have to be solid blocks. If you're using glass, for example, they wouldn't lock those hoppers. You also have to pick a direction for your input and your output. And over here on the output, we have a way of destroying our overflow items. I just chose a cactus, but again, you can do whatever you want. And that way, any items that make it past are not going to be building up in your world, causing unnecessary lag. And you do want to have your farms producing more than just enough to make sure that they are going to turn on as fast as possible. And there is a trade-off. The more items over the amount you make, the faster your farm will get up to speed. Then the more lag you are just generating those items. Now for the water streams, you put a fence gate, and do make sure to open that fence gate every 8th block. And then you put your water source on the correct side to ensure the correct flow of the item. And you do that on both sides here. And then for the alignment, as I was mentioning, you want to put a double chest, and you want to make sure that the water flows as such so the items get pushed up against the chest and then continue onwards. And that makes sure that they are over the hoppers so that the hoppers can pick them up, but they're still getting the benefit of the ice water stream for transportation. And of course, you want to do that on this side as well. Now, in terms of the input requirements, you need at a minimum 18,000 cactus per hour. You do get 1 XP per cactus smelted, and you do want to make sure you put them in the proper streams. The cactus needs to go on top, whereas the bamboo goes in the side. And you do need 72,000 bamboo per hour as well. Now, one of the advantages of a furnace farm setup like this is it doesn't require any player interaction, and because the way that these crops are generated, at least if you're playing Java, is through the zero tick mechanism, that means that you don't have to be within the random tick range, which means that you can actually leave these in your spawn chunks and it will continue to run no matter how far away in your world you walk, as well as even if you log off, if you're playing on a server, it will continue to run in the background. Now, I'll go through these components one more time so you can see in terms of what you need. These are for your ice streams. You need obviously your hoppers for your furnace setup and your glass panes in order to contain those water streams. Your solid blocks along with your redstone and levers to lock the hoppers. Of course, there are a couple other ways you can do this. You can just put a lever down on every block instead of any redstone if you don't want to, or any other way of powering the hoppers. Now, you also need the chests in order to make the alignment. You need the ice or a water bucket for those water streams along with the fence gates. You need this system over here as your automatic dispensing system, and these guys over here for the item destruction when they go past. And this is as far as you can take it for one slice of a furnace farm, and that comes down to your hopper speed. Hoppers can transport 9,000 items per hour, which comes out to 2.5 per second, and furnaces will smelt an item every 10 seconds, so at 25 furnaces, the hoppers are just fast enough to transport all of those smelted items over for destruction. If you were to add even one additional furnace, the hoppers couldn't keep up with those items, and eventually they would back up into the furnaces and turn them off. Now, while this is your maximum efficiency design, in your world, unless you are trying to build something like this, I do recommend you go for this size instead. And I kept everything exactly the same, except I put glass blocks on the final 5 as well as the first 5. And the reason that I did that has to go with how it is that you're making your items. So what you see working here in the background is an Ilmango zero tick bamboo farm. And this particular one that he has is capable of producing 60,000 bamboo per hour. Now, when you cut back to 40 furnaces instead of 50, your input requirements for the bamboo drop to 57,600 per hour, which is enough for this module to keep up. Now, it is the bamboo side that's going to be a little more tricky and a little more of your scaling factor than your cactus side. So I can turn this off now, but you can see that the items were making it all the way to the end. And this is a Techmin 88 design. I'll have both of them linked in the description, and you can go over to their channels to see how to make each of these. Versus the cactus setup. Now, the issue that you have when you zero-tick bamboo is that you need to zero-tick the block under the bamboo. Now, cactus, on the other hand, you can actually, as you can see, zero-tick next to the cactus. The sand isn't moving. Now, you can zero-tick the block under the cactus, which is used in my small fully automatic XP farm. But this additional option allows for a lot more different setups and scaling. The problem with your bamboo side is that there are not a lot of intermediate designs, because it requires you to be able to push the blocks, but also to be able to have a harvesting mechanism. The cactus automatically pops off when you have something next to it, like these open fence gates, whereas you need some sort of a pushing system, and this is already at the push limits for what you're capable of. So the problem becomes, if you need just a little bit more bamboo, you actually have to build a decent sized bamboo farm to make it. So you're much better off scaling based on the size of your bamboo farm than you are based on the size of your cactus farm. And as you will note from the cactus input, because the cactus input is also your XP per hour, this machine in this configuration, which is a 40 furnace array, obviously when you build this, you don't need to use these glass blocks. You can just trim the size of this, which is, I just did this here so you could see the relative scale, is 14,400. Now again, you can leave this in your spawn chunks and it'll continue running in the background. But just by way of comparison, even if you were standing here waiting for the XP, 14,400 would be about 3.5 skeleton spawners operating at the same time. Because you figure a skeleton spawner will get you around 4,000 per hour depending on your setup. So this is about 3.5 skeleton spawners next to each other. And with the skeleton spawners, you need to stand in a specific area, just like all other mob farms, whereas with the furnace farm setups, you can be anywhere in your world you want, and it will continue running in the background. So unless you're going that scale, which you're more than welcome to do, but I would not recommend it because of the lag it'll generate in your world, this is about as big as you're going to want to go if you want something bigger than the small fully automatic farm, because on this side you're going to have trouble with your bamboo inputs. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like, and for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.